Yeah, it makes me laugh with this one because, when Calvin was on the episode last, he was talking about how it's not a sequel, but yet on 7th Street's website, it says that it's a direct sequel to Conjuring the Beyond.
Conjuring the Beyond.
Very different movie. And yeah, this absolutely was not a sequel. This wasn't even in the same ballpark as Conjuring the Beyond.
I think the problem with Calvin is his contract.
Yeah.
Obviously he can't talk about his contract was breaking glass. He's basically told what to make, which, he effectively has a job, which fair enough, fair play to him. But you can kind of see where these titles even are made by committee. Let's jump on this bandwagon, let's latch on to this current thing, and you've kind of got to twist your head and make it work. Yeah, so he works very hard, but he's kind of stuck almost in the corporate mindset, but they're not big enough to be giving him the money to like enjoy it enough, if that makes sense.
Well, and that's the hard part with any studio system. It's like, unless you can bankroll your own shit, like, someone like Don Coscarelli, you're stuck to a committee, regardless of what size your budget is. And it's fucking rough, because especially like the last few films, like in chronological order, they're progressively getting better and better. And the biggest thing for me, it's always sound. Like, I have bitched about it once, I'll bitch about it a million more times. Sound makes or breaks a movie. I don't give a fuck how bad the story is, the acting, whatever. As long as the sound is good, I can deal with it. This one, man, I don't know what they were up against, but this is a far departure from the last two films that we've watched from him. Like, the sound was atrocious at times.
It's a completely different tone as well.
It is. It doesn't feel like a Calvin movie.
No, you can see the elements there. Like, there's the counseling session, Tim Coyle's there, and you see Tim, and you instantly think of the goofy characters. So when they're trying to be like stoic and serious, you're like, this isn't right.
Well, it's like, I can get behind that, like, getting
I
some
know, obviously, yeah.
I mean, and he's split
so
his
many
beard.
roles. Yeah, well, his beard should have his own credit. I still say that.
Yeah, no,
like that should be a character on its own. Tim's beard,
right? I feel like when you're going to do an up close of someone like that, you got to keep the beard in frame. So that was a choice. Yeah, it felt so different. Like, I don't know, man. It was a tough one. Like, I mean, granted, I was also fucking tired as shit and got home like 2 hours later than I was supposed to. But yeah, this was a tough one.
Yeah, I can kind of see, mate. You're still a bit beaten up. It's amazing how that stuff just, you get tired and freaking that's it. It just has a knock-on effect till you get a chance to reset.
Yeah, hopefully in the next decade or so, I'll get some sleep.
That might happen. Who knows? I'm still living in hope.
Yeah, I mean, that's all we can do is hope.
Yeah, so the story is, we have David, who's the main character, and this is almost minimalistic in the character roles. But it's focusing a lot on David, whose daughter Masha committed suicide, and he found her. So we're getting the premise. He comes in the door. She's just arrived at the house. So no time has passed, really. It's the same day sort of thing. But she's killed herself in the bathtub, and her corpse looks like it's been there for years.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like the makeup. I mean, the makeup was good. I dug it.
Yeah, if it was
it's like, how long was she in the fucking bathtub? Because it's like the bruising and shit on her face would make sense. Like, if she had been sitting there for a bit, her head was like this, the blood's gonna pool right there, so it makes sense. But it's like, how neglectful is this fucking father? Pays attention enough to her panties, but not the rest of her.
Oh, that was odd. Well, he's already come and gone. I see your car's here. So she's driven up, done the deed. So it's up in the space of a day. I think they just went overboard with the sort of makeup, make it look as if she's been there for like a week or something.
Yeah, it was a choice. I liked it. It looked great, but yeah.
That's completely out of context. If it had been a body that's been left there for ages and discovered and come in, you would do that, whoa, all that business, perfect. But for this, no. And then we have the most, I don't know, I think the most disturbing part of this movie are American counseling sessions. You guys really turn up.
We do not take mental health seriously in this country at all.
Thing is, this is not overacting or what. This is like the way you guys get on.
This is legit group counseling. Like, it's yeah. It's on par for how we do that shit.
It's disturbing. Like, it's just me. To hate to have anything wrong with me in America. I'd have to do
man.
like that would be. It's like one of them communist struggle sessions. You're committing wrongthink, and everyone else is like, you will share. It's fucking. I don't understand it. I don't see how it helps people.
Right.
I don't see how you commit to something like that or go to that on a regular basis and come out better and not worse.
You don't. It's replacing the crazies that you go in with a different crazy is essentially what it is.
Yeah.
It's just like the whole NA type thing where you go in broken, you come out broken, but worshiping whatever god they force on you.
Yeah, you just replace one addiction with another. I've seen
Mhm.
that. You know, that's why they always come out preachy, like
Mhm.
evangelists, because
They
this is
are.
their new drug. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is their new drug. You know, they've been given it's basically methadone of a sort. I just don't get it. Like if you go into counseling, that would be a very private thing. You know, one on one. There's a particular scene where
Mhm.
he's like, you need to get over it. Like no counselor said. I started a counseling course. That's kind of I have a background in this because of a job I was in. I started actually doing like a basic counseling course, and then I realized 2 months into it that was not for me. This is not what I want to do in any shape or form. I
No,
just
man,
don't have
it's
the personality.
let's say it's a rough one. Like I am essentially an unlicensed therapist because of my job, and how people can legit do that for a living and not take it home is beyond me. Like I'm not one that typically gives a shit about people or things, but yeah, it's a hard one to not take home with you.
Well, my issue is I'm a natural problem solver.
Mhm.
I'm a okay, here's problem, let's find solution, you know, because that's been my background for
Mhm.
umpteen years. So I can't switch that part of my brain off. Hence why I butt heads with a lot of people in the workspace because I just want the problem solved and move on. I hate people that just come in every day that want to moan.
Yeah.
And that's their
Yeah.
whole personality. And it doesn't matter what it's never they're never going to be happy. They're never going to stop moaning because that's the only way they can communicate. So that drives me mental because I'm like, I'm only here to get paid, but while I'm here, I want to be productive and not hanging about because I get bored. And I'm
Mhm.
thinking of the 100 other things I could be doing instead. You know, so keep me that I'm just cracking on, but also just have things run smoothly.
Right. Seems
That's
like not a
just
lot to
life
ask
in general. Yeah.
for.
It's like people that can't get their lives together.
Mhm.
I can't get my head around that.
Right.
How can you not function as a human being? I
That's the
just
thing. It's like I've been homeless. I've been, I mean, I am a drug addict. Like I have been at the fucking bottom numerous times. It's like it's not that fucking hard to just tighten your boots, pull your fucking pants up, and get on with it. Just have to force yourself.
yeah. Can't believe as well, they never got David a hanky, like, the snot was coming out of him left, right, and center.
Man, he was so good when it came to that shit. Like I really hope that was all natural, not just like some fucking Visine that off camera goes. Because
Yeah.
he was selling the emotion. Like,
Mhm.
I'll give him that. Like, that's the thing. Everybody did well in this. It's just I don't know what it could have just been my fucking
Do you
mind
think because
last night,
we're
but it was just so
but we expect a
different.
certain sort of movie when it
Yeah,
comes
I
to
think
comedy.
that's it.
We expect the goofy we're expecting a slasher. This is not a
Mhm.
slasher.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we're expecting goofy fun, cheesy lines,
Mhm.
just ridiculousness. But this is actually trying to be a serious film.
Mhm.
I don't know if this had been maybe the first film you'd ever watched from 7th Street, you have a different relationship
Yeah,
with it.
probably would if this was the
Because
first
even
one,
got
I'd
the same
say.
actors. That's the one that plays Masha. She's the one from Haunting and Ravenwood.
Well, and a bunch of other ones too,
Yeah,
but
oh yeah,
yeah.
I'll say a few, but you know what I mean? The fact that she's the actress in this from the first movie that we ever watched, you know, it
Mhm.
started this whole journey. It's interesting. It's almost like it's come full circle. You know, she almost feels like she's inserted in. I know she's been in a couple, but after the first movie, she hasn't been like a major player.
Mhm.
And I think now she's back, and it's a completely different tone. And
Well, I don't know if I'd necessarily say it's a different tone than Ravenwood. It's pretty similar because Ravenwood was also that, like, there wasn't it didn't feel like they were really leaning into the goofiness of anything. It was a serious, chamber piece that they were doing.
yeah, but a lot of unintentional comedy in it.
Mhm.
This doesn't have the like I didn't giggle anyway. I didn't laugh or go, "Ha, that's stupid." I actually was getting what he was trying to do.
Mhm.
If that makes sense, and I was getting the fact that it was a completely different tone. Where
Yeah.
with the Haunted and Ravenwood, for example, I just felt like, and he said it himself, his sense of humor, he couldn't help himself, you know, while he's filming it. Where this, he seems
Yeah.
to have reined that part back. If this is the first movie I watched from 7th Street, I would have a completely different perception, and then I'd probably look at the other ones and go, "Huh?
Agreed.
How did
Yeah.
this come from those?"
Yeah, if you were to do the double feature of starting with this and then watching, like, Mutant Vampires,
Yeah.
2 vastly different movies. Yeah, I think that'd be, an interesting introduction to 7th Street.
Yeah, this is a different movie, so I was starting to yeah, it's a slow burner as well, which isn't normal.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing, like, I didn't know if it was just because I was incredibly stoned
No,
last
no,
night
no, it's
or what, but
basically
it's
40
like
minutes. It's a
we
slow burner.
we got I think we got, like, 33 minutes into it, and I had to let the dogs out, so I paused it, and both me and my wife were like, "Damn." So it's like, "Man, we thought we were, like, an hour into this shit." I was like, "Huh, I wonder when they're gonna ramp up to the next act, and it's like, "Oh, okay, we're not even close, that makes sense."
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's taking its time.
Yeah.
It's a thoughtful piece, and it's coming through the lens of grief and that.
Mhm.
So you don't know at this point, is it and breaking down, apart from the goth girls, which
Mhm.
they stick out like a sore thumb.
I think that's kind of the point.
Yeah. Like for example, considering how militant group counseling sessions are in America, if they're turning up doing the grief horror thing,
Mhm.
surely they would have been kicked out if they've been turning up for multiple sessions.
Well, that depends. If it's one of those free ones, probably not. Like, as long as they're respectful and shit, like, during the sessions, they'll let them keep coming back. Like, I did some shortly after my mother had passed, and there were some people that probably didn't need to be there, but it, like, became a part of their regular routine, so they just kept up with it for fucking far longer than anybody probably should. So I could see that, but yeah, it's very much like, you think the counselor would be like, "Girls are why are you here?"
Yeah, been rolling. And so I was starting to wonder, did they actually exist in the plane? That's where my head was going with this.
Mm,
Because it's going through the lens of David's grief. So are these imaginary or the ethereal as
mhm.
opposed to actually physically being there? That's where my head was going with this movie. I don't know if you were with me on that.
No, that's interesting. I'll have to look at it that way next time, or at least think about that. 'Cause no, I took it at face value that they were just there.
Because if you notice when he's talking and stuff, it's only until a particular scene later on that they're actually there. But up until that point, I'm thinking, is he actually talking to these girls? Or did he mind associate from the photograph and imagine what they would be like? It's that, that's where my head was going
Mm.
up to a point. Here's another thing I do not understand in general, dairies.
Yeah,
I don't understand the Dear Dairy thing. I just don't get it.
yeah, that's not something that I ever have been able to do. Funny enough, in the Mormon culture, that's a huge thing because, of course, they're all about family history and all that shit. So from a young age, that was always something that was really forced on us. Like, you need to do this. You need to keep the story of your life. It's like, I don't even want to live it. Why would I want somebody to read it? It's not that interesting. So yeah, I couldn't imagine actually taking that serious and keeping one.
And also, you're setting yourself up. If you have a dairy, and it doesn't matter how, especially if you're in a lot of Mormon houses, like they put the Catholics to shame, don't they? Their breeding program.
They can. They definitely can.
So you have that, a sibling or somebody is going to want to read it. It's just
Mhm.
because it's there. That's human nature. A parent, somebody
Mhm.
is going to want to read that. You're setting yourself up. Also, as well, if you're formulating your thoughts, it doesn't mean that your thought you had today is the thought you're going to have tomorrow about
Mhm.
something. You're usually trying to figure it out.
Right.
And if you verbalize or put it in your head, you're not actually, it takes a minute to get the thought, the train of thought that you're on, out there when you're wrestling with an idea. So the
Oh,
idea
yeah.
of putting all that shit down on the paper and then somebody take it literally,
Yeah, that's
that's not,
honestly, that's why I stopped writing poetry as a child. Like, I was going through some shit 'cause, I had a relatively rough upbringing, and, yeah, I was just trying to articulate my thoughts and just kind of get this shit out of me,
Mhm.
and I ended up getting put pretty much on suicide watch because it's something that I wrote, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I guess my grandma went through my shit. Alright, not doing this anymore."
And then you lose that
Mhm.
bit of catharsis. That's
Yeah.
it's a dangerous thing. Same as talisman. I have a thing about talisman. People that put their magic into a talisman, like
Mhm.
first of all, you're taking it out of yourself, but B, you're just setting it up. You're setting up for somebody to steal it, use it against
Mhm.
you. It's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get dairies. I really don't. It's you're inviting intrusion,
Mhm.
which we see here.
Well, and the way that I look at it, it's like if I don't remember something, then it wasn't important enough to stay in there anyways.
Yeah, enough going on in there without adding extra.
Pretty much. It's like I don't remember a lot of my childhood, and you know what? That's probably a good thing.
Hear you not. You have this weird thing. Oh, his ex-wife, she turns up once.
Yeah, a couple of times. She's
Yeah, but she's turned up once at this point.
oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
It's
definitely, a grump lump. That's for sure.
Yeah, but the fact that she still has a key and comes in and's like packing up the room and stuff, like this is all as if it's recent, but
Mhm.
it seems like it's just split up straight after. But then it's one of them people. If you're split up, be split up. Stop finding excuses to constantly come around to the house
Mhm.
or get back
Well,
together or don't do it. But fucking
yeah,
make up your
exactly,
mind.
and it's like all she's doing is leading homeboy along, and it's like, of course, we all grieve in different ways, so, it might make perfect sense in her mind for the character to do that, but, yeah, it's like, the last scene that we get her in where, she's like, "I do miss you, blah, blah, blah," and then he goes in for, like, physical contact, and she's like, "Ugh." It's like, "Come on, man. You're going through shit, he's going through shit, you understand what he's thinking as you're doing what you're doing, like, just get yourself out of that situation because you don't wanna be in it."
Yeah, or stop playing games because that's not nice.
Yeah.
That's nasty. Yeah, I didn't see the point of her character, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean,
She
her
brought
thing is
nothing
it's
to the
like she
table.
wasn't bad, but it really didn't bring anything to the table. And like the whole she hates that he drinks a lot, yet she's trying to get him to get drunk.
I'm going to
And
get
so
you a beer. You're having a beer now.
I gotta say, if they weren't sponsored by that fucking company, I am surprised because usually we get like the pub beer box where
Hmm.
they cover pubs, so it just says beer and then they put their own labels on the cans. But man, he was all about that beer. Funny enough, I actually almost tried that the other night when I was at a concert. I saw that and I thought it was a unicorn, so I was like, "Yeah, obviously I want to drink it." Then I realized it was just a horse. And I was like, "Ah, never
Never
mind."
tried it. They'll have this weird thing where he starts getting spasms.
Mhm,
Like he picks up something, he starts getting a spasm in his left hand, and I don't know. I don't think we really got that explored. There's a bit towards the end where it becomes like a thread or something, but
mhm.
I'm having trouble. Is he being visited by the other world? Has he always had psychic powers, or is this grief that he's filling in the blanks? I'm not fully getting what's going on.
The way I saw it was the grief is what opened him up to the other side, and that's why he can essentially feel his daughter. Between the grief and the guilt of him being just a shitty person, like, that's what's made him sensitive to, that shit going on.
Hmm.
Plus, I mean, that's the theory is that when someone dies traumatically or there was a lot of energy one way or the other, whether it's extreme happiness or extreme, sorrow, supposedly that's what can leave a spirit there. So,
Hmm.
like, I believed it. I thought it was a weird tell, but because we could just get the nightmares, which we had, but
They were done. I have to say though, the nightmares were done well. I like that.
especially because it gets to a point where you don't know if he's in a dream because he doesn't know.
Mhm.
So I dug that.
That was pure character acting.
Mhm.
The guy that plays David, that's I have to say, I wasn't too sure in the opening scene, but as it went along in the movie, I really enjoying his performance.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, the dream sequences, the me getting haunted through the dreams, and all of a sudden he's waking up on the couch, or he's in work, or he's something. He's just like, when did I fall asleep? And he brings
Mhm.
that up.
Yeah, man, been there.
Yeah, I've done that. I just sit on the sofa and like, oh, look at YouTube, and the next thing I know, I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
what the hell? The light's gone down and stuff, and it's got dark. I'm like, how did that happen?
Right.
And then I'm looking, going, oh shit, am I meant to be online? Have I missed something? Chris had to wake me up once for one of our reviews.
Oh, that's
He
funny.
had to ring me because I did exactly that. Oh, I've got 45 minutes or something before we start. I'll just watch this 20-minute video, then I'll go and get set up. Ring, ring. I'm like, shit.
Oh, that's funny.
I did not. I did not. When you don't see it coming, it's not like you're nestling down and going, "Oh, I'll
Mhm.
have a wee doze." You're just sitting upright, straight. I'll just watch this, and you just comes out of nowhere. Been there.
That's me almost every night with my 30 minutes of reading. It's always like, "All right, I've been waiting for this all fucking day. Let's do this." And I'm sitting up nice and straight, trying to keep some good posture so I can stay awake. And then I get like a couple pages in. Next thing I know, I'm waking up because I'm smacking myself in the face with the book. I was like, "How the fuck did I end up laying down?"
So I can absolutely 100% identify with this.
Yeah,
Apart
yeah,
from the spur
definitely.
thing, getting halted, but can 100% identify not knowing when you're awake or asleep sometimes if you're
Mhm.
going at it because yeah, I think maybe he should have stuck with us the whole way through. I think the psychic bit threw me off a bit. The picking up the just stick with the dreams. That was a good plot device and it was done really well. The
Well, and
touching the
who's to
objects
say that's
things
not
did
also
not.
like the psychic thing? So it still fits. At least I think so.
But then and he goes back to the counselling again. I think it's one of the last counselling sessions. And the guy playing the counsellor, what was the line? You need to get over this. You need to
Yeah.
just pick yourself up and get on. Like,
Yeah, and
hold on
it's
a
like,
bit.
presumably, this is pretty goddamn close to right after it happened.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but if somebody told me to get over any sort of grief that I had, I would punch them in their fucking face, period. Like, fuck that.
And secondly, that's not the whole point. You don't tell the patient. I remember that much. You don't tell. You're not actually telling them. You're trying to open up dialogue so they figure it out themselves. That's
Mhm.
kind of the whole point of it.
Yeah.
And let the person, come to the conclusion. That's kind of supposed to be the magic of counseling.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
when he's been like dismissive, and also, is this not his job? So repeat clients, is that not kind of the point?
Right?
Don't you darken these doors again. How dare you need help? It was just a strange bit of dialogue to have,
Mhm.
considering the setting.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a choice.
Now, if I was like 15 or like 20 and a bunch of golf girls went, we're going to come over to your house, I'd have been like, yippee. However, being older and wiser, that's only going to lead to drama and you don't need that in your life.
hot take. I mean, I'm
That's
38, and if I was single, and I would know that something bad is going to happen, it'd still happen.
no, I suppose maybe I've just passed through. Give it another decade, and you might think differently because danger, danger, danger,
Oh no, it would.
danger.
I would be. From experience, I would know nothing good is coming from this. It still
Yeah,
happen.
nah, that was like, oh, we'll come on over. We know where you live. Yeah, big bolts.
Mhm.
No.
And it'd be like a cartoon. As soon as you're done doing all that shit, you turn around and they're just standing there
Or the
staring at
hand you one of the boards to put up.
you. Right? Yeah.
But also, they add to the ridiculousness of this. Michelle turns up again. It's freezing cold, and she's
Mhm.
just like in a shirt, as if
Yeah.
she's suddenly surprised that when she left. And where did she live next door to him or something?
Fucking something. Just
Like,
randomly shows up and looks like she walked.
yeah,
I just love how she gets all fucking pissy with him, like, "You're not reaching out to her friends anymore, are you?" And it's like, what the fuck is wrong with that? It's like being in a case like that, like, I lost a friend a few years back, and after he passed, like, his grandma kept in contact with all of us. Like, that's just how everybody kinda copes with it. I was like, "There's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. That's how you grieve as a community and you heal as a community. Like, that's fucking okay."
but once again, we're getting no context as
Mhm.
to what's happened. I feel like there's something missing from this. Should we have seen a bit of the aftermath after him finding her? It's like they've skipped forward an amount of time. We know it's not more than a year. We know it's
Yeah.
a really short time, but then has a lot went on.
I was gonna say that's about the only thing I could really see sort of needing to be explained. Like, what is the time difference between when that happened and where we are now? Because I feel like that would make certain things make a lot more sense if we knew.
Yeah, because you're kind of going, what was he doing? Was he like calling to their house or ringing them up or what? What was it? But she's just randomly lashing out and she's torturing him.
Yeah.
Like he would actually be better if he wasn't in her life whatsoever. Like her character's just nothing but toxic.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily know if it's her that is toxic or just the scenario. Like, he wants something that she can't give him, and she knows that, but she's still around. That's a tricky one.
Yeah, I just like I said, I just don't. Her character confused me more than give me any sort of exposition or help with the plot.
Hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, the dream sequence or the I don't know whether it was a dream sequence or like an ethereal realm that he was brought into. But yeah, finally, what are we in? Like nearly an hour, and this is the first time we get some boobies.
Right, it was kinda surprising. I was like, "I don't think it's gonna happen." Other than,
I
like,
honestly thought it wasn't
in
going to happen at all.
the suicide scene,
Yeah, but that doesn't count. It was all makeup and stuff, so it wasn't
yeah,
really.
but,
That's
yeah, no, I did love that. It felt very Giallo-esque. I mean, especially with the lighting like that goes without saying, but, yeah, where he's at his house, and then he turns around, and all of a sudden, there's this big open area. And it's like, "Oh, this is kinda cool. Is this real? Is this not real? Is this somewhere in between?" I dig it.
I have to say, this is one of the better ritual scenes I've seen in any movie.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
something any sort of witchcraft movie or magic movie, they always do the ritual scenes are absolutely atrocious.
Mhm.
And even The Devil Rides Out, which I'm gonna get to at some point, the ritual scenes are not fantastic. They can't seem to get an idea of a magical ritual
Mhm.
taking place. Even The Craft wasn't really a ritual as such. There's a lot of cutscenes.
Yeah.
They tried calling the god, and it was more the aftermath, but the actual ritual itself didn't, I didn't believe it
Mhm.
that something magic was going on. This I was on board with.
Mhm.
I felt the intensity, the words even, because that's usually where it gets really clunky when they try to ritualize words. Usually, a lot of films mess it up. It just sounds hammy as hell. But I was actually on
Yeah.
board with this and I'm enjoying myself.
Yeah. No, it seemed like a legit ritual, definitely.
And something, you felt like something had been conjured.
Mhm.
Credit where credit's due. Like that really, I was on board with this.
Mhm.
And then we go back to him dreaming again, after it, and it seems to ramp up a bit, but still very slow burnery.
Mhm.
You would think after the ritual took place, this is the point where the movie would just pick up pace.
Yeah, you'd
But
think, "Okay, we're in the final act. It's just gonna get crazy now."
but no, it takes its time getting towards the end.
Mhm.
Once again, Michelle turns up now in dreams, but what is her purpose?
Yeah, I still don't understand that last dream where, the daughter whispers into her ear, and then she just starts making noises. It's like, I don't quite understand where that was going, but okay.
Yeah, you'd think this is the point where things are revealed, not getting more confusing. Because Masha was starting to speak to him at this point, and they start, they're doing the thing of the ghost can't break through the realm, but eventually he finds a way to do it and communicate and to get in tune. It felt like we were getting to that point, and the ritual was going to really open it up. But then it went back to this, and I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah.
He decides he's going to go to the counseling place to cast the ritual.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if that was at his school or if that was the counseling place.
Wherever that was being held, that building.
Mm-hmm.
That's where he decided to go to instead of at his house, which would actually have more of a connection to Masha's spirit, would it not?
Yeah.
This is where he decides he's going to invoke her to bring her back.
Yeah.
Maybe they just needed the space. The plot needed to happen because they needed space to do stuff.
Yeah.
The house set wasn't big enough, but I don't know. This is hot topic magic happening though. Fucking
Yeah, 100%.
Fucking tea lights. What are you doing, man? Candles aren't that expensive, really. In fact, some of them tea lights, if you buy a bag of those, is more expensive than like 4 candles.
Right. But if you get a giant bag, you can take as many takes as you need to.
I laughed. I don't know if it was meant to or not, but I'm just like, bah! What are you doing?
Yeah.
Even Walmart do them cheap. Like proper candles. Sure, they have a whole section.
Yeah,
And those
that is
little
true.
lantern things I used to have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the black candles. Like I got them out of Walmart, flipping all for less than $10.
Yeah.
Pretty sure Dollar Tree do them as well.
Yeah, but now it's like $1.25. So.
Oh dear. Right. But at least you're not having a tea light in your production. It could have even taken out of the foil. If he had done it like a little bowl and taken out of the foil, and had it floating, I would be on board. But that was tragic.
Yeah.
The steam effect when Masha appears like he conjures her inside the building and she appears outside because something's happening here. I don't know. I think we needed instead of the scenes with Michelle, if they had something about way lines and the goth chicks explaining like here's a path. They'll if you do it in this area, an old map of the place or something. Bit of dialogue. I might have been on board why he went where he went to cast the spell.
Yeah.
But when Masha appears outside in the same clothes that she's been in, the whole time. The steam effect was quite good. I like that. She had the steam rising off her.
Yeah, I mean, it looked cool as shit.
That was, I was really impressed with that. And I don't know whether he used dry ice. I think it might have been dry ice. It didn't feel like CGI.
No, I mean, it definitely wasn't. Like, that was practical coming off of her.
Yeah, I like that. I have to say, it's been so long, especially when you use the CGI shite all the time and looking cheesy as hell. When you actually see something that's physical, you're kind of like, oh, wow.
Yeah, no, it was pretty dope.
But he wears skinny fit clothing, so he does. Like you could see his tiny, and you can see him standing beside her and their body frames. And he has this magic shirt that he takes off and hands to her, and it just grows twice in size. I just thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
And just is it just because I'm looking for this sort of stuff now that I'm tuned into it?
I mean, maybe. Like that's the great thing. I don't got a whole lot going on up here, so it's very easy for me to turn my brain off and just accept things. At least for the most part.
Maybe it's a game I'm playing myself because I'm in review mode, but these are the sort of things I'm looking for. Do they match up? I don't really, a lot of things I can forgive, but things like that annoy me. It's like, that's not the same size shirt. That's a completely different one. What the hell? And what was the point of that scene? So we could give her the pants?
I guess. Yeah, I don't know. That whole the very final last bit, I'm still very confused. Like he conjures her back, but she's not back, but she's back, and then he gets pregnant, and then they cut him open. And then she comes out. It's like, but wasn't she already back?
But it wasn't her. She got replaced.
Yeah, I was.
So it was like
I was a little confused
came back
with all
to
that.
torture him. I didn't get the whole pedo thing.
Oh, I mean that made sense right at the fucking beginning, as he's sitting there with the pair of panties in his fucking hand.
Yeah, but the panties thing didn't get me. I was like, what's this about? Fucking, I think as well because it's a completely different tone. I wasn't, I'm expecting the comedy or something. I'm not getting what the tone of this movie. It's not a 7th Street movie.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a departure from stuff we've had in the past.
And because of the way some of that stuff was done, like he's not acting like a creepy old man. If that makes sense.
The thing is, he was like, that kind of shit. It's not an overt thing. Like the smart ones, it's not an overt thing.
Evening, buddy.
So
Yeah, but he's in his private moments. I'm trying to think. Like the black phone, was he the grabber in his private moments? You know he's a twisted fuck, and you know the persona he puts on for others. I'm trying to think other movies where it's done. You see the persona they put on outside, and then when they're in on their private moments, you get that glimpse of it. This, I wasn't, unless he was in extreme denial.
See, I don't know. Like it,
And then the whole thing with Michelle, like because her character is so ham-fisted and confusing, if he had a called round to her house and she was absolutely revulsed by him, like even the opening scene, the fact that she's driving to the house and it's all as if everything's normal, you know what I mean? I got none of the vibe. It felt like something sort of hammered in there.
I don't know. Like I got that from the beginning. It just like it was like sort of a yeah, no, that makes sense because like his character the whole time is I'm a bad father. I was a terrible father. And it's everybody else around him that's trying to tell him, "No, you were a great father." But he was the only one aside from his daughter knew the truth of his relationship with his daughter. So, like it just I don't know. I wasn't surprised like it wasn't a huge reveal at the end when it came out that he fucking raped and molested her.
Maybe it's my innocent mind.
It must be.
You know me, I'm just, I don't know. It just, like I said, I was seeing it through guilt, as in, why did she do this? I have no answer. And then the cult, or getting involved with a cult, that's the direction it was pointing me. That they twisted her or did something. The idea of him conjuring something back instead of his daughter, well, that was kind of the whole trailer, etc.
Yeah.
And that was the whole thing I was getting set up for. For it to be that and then it being like a revenge thing, I don't know. It just felt the delivery. It could have went that way. It could have went another way. I was more expecting it to go the other way, just from what I was getting from the movie.
Yeah.
That it was a cult, said she had to kill herself to be free, and there was to bring something, but she can come back reborn or something or better. Like teenage angst sort of thing.
Yeah.
Getting manipulated, but yeah. And it's the last bit. This is where it goes silly. Because the people in the robes turn up and then we get Sloth from the Goonies just randomly appear.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that.
That was
definitely was not expecting that.
Why?
It's like we got them throughout the entire movie, just off in the background. But yeah, with the reveal, it's like probably just could have kept the hood on.
Yeah,
it's much scarier when it's mysterious, not hey, you guys.
Yeah, that didn't. That once again, that was me going. I lost the tension. So once that reveal happened, any tension or build up was gone because I'm just all right. We're back to goofy slasher sort of thing. Okay, and I kind of meandered through the last act. How to say though, it was a cool effect of him basically being birthed out of him. Funny enough, when we were playing Morkborg, our first session, that's how our characters come in. A necromancer brought us back from the death through ritual sacrifices. We were tied up the chamber. That's how and the whole part of the first game was actually to figure a way out to get out of the body. It was lovely, dark and twisted. So I laughed at that because I just remember playing the game, which is still on the channel, folks. If you want to check it out, we're having so much fun with that. It's like proper dark. Then we get the whole, right, she's out. So obviously she's reached out to these girls. She's decided that, actually, I don't know what she's decided. That's what I'm confused about. It seems a bit of a convoluted mess to get revenge on somebody when she could do it while alive.
Yeah, especially with what's going on. It's like she could just go to the police and have him fucking essentially killed in prison.
Or just
whatever.
If she happens to have access to the whole cult with robes and stuff, well, guess what? Just take him the weekend. Daddy, you want to reconnect and take him the weekend and have him bringing, used as the local sacrifice that evening.
Right.
This is where it seems overly complicated. Where the original premise, which it was all leading, that she's got involved in a cult and basically led down a dark, it was too much for her, and then she's trying to scream for help because he doesn't know what's happened to her. That was all fine, but then it just completely turns on its head. And we didn't have enough plot there to get us on board with it. I don't think anyway. But it looked good. I have to say, it was a good looking movie.
Yeah, it looked great. Like I said, the sound at parts, like specifically like in the hallways scenes, like it was rough as fuck. But yeah, it wasn't the best, wasn't the worst.
No, it wasn't meeting vampires.
Yeah.
But there you go. That was that. That was fun to always catch up anyway. And, yeah, it's been slow. It's been last 2 weeks. It's been really slow with news, etc. Just everything's ground to a halt. You get little times, I guess, and then I've even been struggling for the daily news articles. Bugger all happening.
Well, and that's the hard part about this time of year is pretty much like the studio system shuts down from Halloween to the first of the year. So it's about
But
how
in
it goes.
our sort of sphere, this is the busy. Should be the busiest time, the week before Halloween. There
Mhm.
should be lots of stuff getting dropped because this is the hype train. This is the time to hype movies up, even if they're not coming out straight away,
Yeah.
and games and articles and everything else. But this year just seems to have all fallen off a cliff.
It's like really the only thing that happened was Terrifier 3. That got hyped the fuck up and killed it. That's about it.
Well, considering the fact a clown movie came out the week before at 10 times the budget and tagged, and then Terrifier 3 came out.
Yeah, I love just how it's done so much better than everything else out right now.
Yeah,
It's so goddamn funny. I mean, it's just another example of why the redheaded stepchild of the industry is always the moneymaker.
and
'Cause,
then
yeah, I loved the first Joker. This one,
never even bothered.
I want to see it, but probably not in theaters. It's
No,
probably going to be something as soon as I can stream it and use my Amazon points to rent it for free. That's when I'll watch it.
yeah, I'm not remotely excited. Heard enough, and
Yeah.
I can't stand Gaga. I can't stand her.
See, that's the thing. Like,
In-house very happy now.
that was like one of the biggest draws because I do like her. Like, I think she's a pretty goddamn good actor. But yeah, it's just everything I've heard. It's like they're reneging on all the shit they came up with the first movie. I was like, why? Why?
They didn't like the fact that I don't know. I'm not even gonna try and figure out their brains. Just don't sniff Hollywood farts. Don't get in the Hollywood fart chamber and sniff them because it fucks your brain up.
Yeah.
Star Wars is the horror movie.
Yeah.
It is the horror movie. It doesn't nothing else needed.
Fuck, man. I still say we need Flanagan doing either Death Troopers or Red Harvest or any of the Mall books. I think that'd be fantastic.
When you get a complete change at Lucasfilm, maybe, but not now. Not for put Flanagan on ice. Sure, he still has to do the Dark Horror series, and they're still
my
only
God.
storyboarding it. They're not even storyboarding yet. They're not even at that point.
He's been writing it.
No, he's been off and on, but he's been giving interviews recently, just like gonna happen. We're still in production. Once you use that in production mode, it's like, oh, okay. Or sorry, in development. In development.
I was
sorry,
going to
so
say
sorry.
production. That's a different.
No, that's
story.
different. Sorry, right, that's me not talking properly.
Well, and then to have
development.
Stephen King talk about this last weekend, how he's returned to Midworld and the territories, and it's like, you son of a bitch, don't do that. My dick can only get so hard. Like, yeah, that's. I fucking hope we get another one.
I think 2026 is going to be the year. I don't think we're going to have a good 2025.
No, we're not, because again, we're just now starting to get the repercussions of the writer strike and the SAG strike and all that stuff. So pretty much the only thing we're getting is stuff that got the passes from SAG, which, again, it's a whole stupid thing to get into, but it's going to be a very light coming year.
Yeah. So we'll make our own entertainment. Plenty of stuff going on in all our channels anyway, so make sure you check them out. But there you go, that's it for another month. And just leaves us to say, until next time, keep updated with the channel, do the type of clicky things, and remember to keep it creepy.
And keep it horrific.